Tuesday. The ice is melting. Right? If you didn't know, Nashville got blanketed last week. It was so much easier to drive to work today. I didn't slip and slide coming out of the neighborhood.
We made it.
We
made it down here.
Yeah, it was like a day after the Morrow situation trying to come over here yesterday, though. Because my neighborhood's like really hilly. Mm-hmm. So trying to come out of it, like going back down, going like into the neighborhood, back to my house is easier because it's downhill. But going uphill, man, I went to the gas station the other day.
Well, you can't invest in all the snow equipment when you
for 2 days?
For 2 days every 2 years?
Look, I've lived in Iowa. I've lived in Montana. I know when I need to have snow on the tires. I mean, you drop a couple ice cubes on the road down here, and they cancel it for 3 days. But I will say, there was a lot of snow and ice.
It was.
A lot of snow and ice.
For a full week, yeah.
Definitely, for sure. The Titans are finalizing a deal to make Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan their next head coach. Debo Samuel does not have a fractured shoulder, and Andy Staples from On3 stops by to discuss the latest moves by Alabama and Ohio State. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Shalom! Jim Harbaugh may go to the NFL. Maybe the Falcons, maybe the Chargers, who knows? And if he does, Michigan fans should be disappointed, should be let down and somewhat melancholy. Can't believe I finally got to use that word. But they shouldn't be angry. The reason isn't just because Jim finally overtaken Ohio State or that he's even won the whole thing. It's that he has prepared Michigan to be successful even after his departure. He's shown Wolverine Nation that they can be on top of that mountain again. They can beat their chest as a big dog. He's accumulated depth, and that depth understands the culture that brought Michigan to the mountaintop. The young guys learn from the old guys. He united everyone at Michigan through turbulent times that ultimately ended in triumph. And he's given the man that should replace him if he does leave, and Sharon Moore, the best on-the-job training you could possibly give someone. Now, he stood for what he believes in when times were bad and when they were good. Because it all starts with believing that you can do it. And he even took a pay cut when he wasn't fulfilling his end of the bargain. That is servant leadership. So whether he stays or goes, this is for certain. He didn't just flip the script, he wrote a new one. He didn't just win the present, he laid the groundwork for the future. And that is the best gift that any fan base can ask from their leader. Guy that knows a lot about Michigan football, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, my brother, former Western Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crane. And David, listen, second interview with the Chargers. You're hearing me go in with a second interview for the Falcons. We all know that second date hits different. Like now we're going to find out, hey, first one passed the test, want to hang out with you again, you want to hang out with me again. Like we go to the third date, we're together now. So
on the contract.
Yeah, we have a contract. But when you look at if we were to play the game of, all right, Harbaugh's going to leave, you've got to feel good in a time where we've seen what happened when Nick Saban leaves Alabama and the transfer portal rules and how teams are rated. Sharon Moore's got to be the next guy up, right? And if he is, that continuity, being able to keep that young core that watched these old guys, how they did it, for literally 2-3 years. I know the young guys have probably been there for a year or two, but you've got to feel better in a crazy changing landscape of college football, having that continuity and having that similar kind of mindset at the top. I mean, what else can you ask for if you're a Michigan fan?
No, you're exactly right. Look, I'd love if Jim Harbaugh would stick around in Ann Arbor for many years to come. But if he ultimately decides to return to the NFL, I think there are three main reasons. One, his prior success in the league. This isn't just some coach who wants to go try his hand in the NFL because it's always been a dream. He won there. I mean, think about it. The San Francisco 49ers won one playoff game in 13 years. Jim Harbaugh shows up. They go to 3 NFC championships and 1 Super Bowl in his first 3 seasons. Yeah. The second reason, the Chargers are a perfect landing spot to me. I mean, a young franchise quarterback, one of the most elite in the league, in his prime, who is under contract with key pieces around him. One of the best running backs in the league, Austin Eckler, your former teammate. You got a Bosa brother coming off the edge there, a ball hawk on the defensive side of the ball, and Derwin James. All these pieces. The Vikings a year ago would have been a good fit. I know he's entertaining, the Atlanta Falcons right now, possibly, but the Chargers are a perfect landing spot this cycle. And how often does that come come up. And then the third thing to me is just what you hit on. Look, he's left Michigan better than he found them if he ultimately decides to leave. He'll never be more endeared by the fan base than right now. If he won 5 championships in a row, if he won 6 in 18 years the way Nick Saban did, this first one, getting back over that mountaintop, and you know, the perfect season, 15-0, and you follow that up with 3 straight wins over Ohio, 3 straight Big Ten championships. I just think that it's sort of the perfect, you know, encapsulation of everything he wanted to do when he came back to coach at his alma mater, where he played quarterback for Bo Schembechler. And the succession plan is in place, like you talked about. You have to go with Sharon Moore. It's not like you're leaving your alma mater high and dry here so late in the hiring cycle. Sharon Moore will be the next guy up. He already has 6 wins and 1 over your biggest rival when he filled in for you this year. That combined with the fact that Jim Harbaugh clearly doesn't have any friends when it comes to the NCAA and his, you know, these investigations year after year. I think that those would be the 3 reasons to me that would make sense to jump on this opportunity if Jim Harbaugh wants to return to the NFL.
Can I add a fourth? Can I add a fourth there? His brother beating him in the Super Bowl. I'm just telling you, man, deep down, I just feel like that's got to mean something. I mean, you got to win Thanksgiving again.
And he may win it this year.
He may win it. Yeah, he may win it this year. I mean, you got to win Christmas dinner. We got to win Easter, right? Like we just maybe if it's for a year, right? Because look, I don't know. John may win it this year with the Ravens, the way it's going.
Saying.
Yeah, like you said. But Blaine, to me, when I look at the Sharon Moore taking over for Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh hasn't left yet. He may be coming back, so Michigan fans, calm down.
Oh, he's gone. Guys, he's gone.
Gone forever.
Gone.
But doesn't Sharon Moore taking over for Jim Harbaugh feel like what it would have been for Kirby Smart to take over for Nick Saban in Alabama? Wouldn't you say Moore is his protege? Not that Minter is, not that Mike McDonald wasn't, who's at the Ravens now, but Harbaugh's an offensive guy. He's a quarterback. Is Moore Harbaugh's Kirby Smart? And if it is, you got to feel good giving the keys to a guy who's already driven the car. I mean, on top of a mountain.
I mean, at this point, you can't feel better about giving the keys to anybody else. I mean, Sharon Moore knows Michigan inside out. He knows these players. He knows he has the blueprint to run this program. Kind of like the same thing with Kirby and Nick. Jim gave him the blueprint. I think Jim is going to be the Chargers' next head coach. But I do worry about this. You have a great quarterback. You have great pieces. But the management for the Chargers has always been somewhat sketchy. Always not really willing to spend money on a head coach. We've seen that, and that's one thing I would worry about if I'm Jim Harbaugh. But when it comes to him staying at Michigan, there's no reason to. You've done everything. What else can you do for the University of Michigan? 1, right now with all the NIL and transfer portal stuff, if you're a head coach, I wouldn't want to stay that long in college if I can go to the NFL. 2, you just won the Natty. 3, you've been kicking Ohio State's ass for years, and you have the prodigy son quarterback coming out of Michigan going to the NFL. If it's Jim Harbaugh, there's not a better time to leave. It's the Peyton Manning syndrome, all right? You go out on top.
Yeah, and we want to know what you think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We're going to open up the line for calls at 7:15 when we bring Andy Staples on. I'm going to try and get to that quickly. I do want to make 2 points. 1, I'm not saying Michigan is just going to win the national championship every year from here on out. What I'm talking about is I feel like now that you've shown the young guys, now that you could hand it off to Moore, they've seen it. You've done it. I think they're going to be championship relevant. Not that Michigan hasn't in, every 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 years, whatever. But it's one thing to get there and do it and then be able to maintain it somewhat. So don't think this is a blanket. Michigan's just going to take over. They're going to dominate forever. It's all cyclical. Second thing, Urban Meyer beat Michigan, 7 times in a row, David? Nobody blames Urban Meyer for Michigan overtaking Ohio State again. Who do they blame? Ryan Day. So if Jim Harbaugh were to go to the NFL and Ohio State were to win 2 or 3 in a row, they're not going to blame Jim Harbaugh, right? Not saying that would be the reason he wanted to scapegoat it to somebody else, but you kind of avoid all the negativity, like you're saying, to go out on top. So it does give you a little bit more of an incentive. It's going to be interesting to watch that second interview. I mean, at both places. I agree with you. The Chargers, I think, are a better fit. I don't think Harbaugh would take the job if they weren't going to pay him, but I think Jim Harbaugh is the type of guy, and I want to make sure I describe this without coming off as saying it's almost ignorant, but I feel like he's bullheaded enough where he feels like if you put him in a position and let him do his thing, that the periphery stuff doesn't matter. He'll be able to do it. Jim Harbaugh just seems like that type of
Well, I think it's less about the money for him. This offer that I've been hearing is in the $15 to $18 million range, which makes sense because he has the same agent as Sean Payton's agent, who in I think that range was similar with
Jimmy Sexton's father? Jimmy Sexton?
Cousin at the very least. I think what you hit on is very big too. Like the Chargers organization, are we going to be a buttoned up franchise who's going to wholeheartedly go after winning? I think that's why we haven't seen him be signed just yet for all the things he's asking for. I don't know the specifics of that, but probably to be on the committee that names the next general manager, or maybe Jim Harbaugh would just have player personnel control himself. I know that was the rift that ended up getting him out of San Francisco. That combined with all of the resources that you need, that he sees he would need to have success at the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not out here trying to street race in a Prius. If I'm going to hop in,
the Chargers are entertaining.
Yeah,
the Chargers are entertaining it if they're interviewing him a second time.
Do you worry about Cone? Do you worry about if Harbaugh does go to the Chargers? How much drop off? How many players do you see entering the portal? Because you kind of look at Alabama and Nick Saban leaving. This class is old, experience. They're gone.
Yeah. Well, I told Jake this the other day when you weren't with us, is that the ceiling for Sherrone Moore is probably not as high. How could you expect it to be as high with coming off the greatest season in the history of the program, right? So the ceiling may not be as high, but different than Alabama, where you have to go out right now because you don't have that succession plan. Kirby Smart left, and then Steve Sarkisian was the other half of that. Steve Sarkisian was the natural succession plan, where you didn't have that at Alabama. The next thing you can do is just go hire the best coach possible. For Michigan to go and get someone like Brian Kelly, like we've been seeing those rumors for LSU, I don't think it makes any sense. Yes, the floor would still be really, really high. Brian Kelly would come in and do a great job, but you would change so much so quickly when the conference is changing and the college football playoff is changing. Yes, we're sending a lot of seniors who just came back to win this championship off to the NFL and off to their professional working lives. But Sherrone Moore being elevated after he already has 6 wins would keep so much cohesion.
That's the thing. It's cohesion and continuity. It's all circumstantial. You can't just throw it all into one bucket and say, well, when one guy leaves, it's just going to be a raid on the portal. It's different when you promote from within, and we already know the relationships. I mean, just watch a post-game interview with Coach Moore when he was having to be the interim guy when Harbaugh was suspended. Those players, which includes the young guys, love this man. They want to stay and play for this guy. Yes, you would be losing the head coach, but you would be uplifting a guy that was already in there, and you wouldn't lose nearly what you would lose by bringing in Brian Kelly, who's a great coach, but he would do it his way. It's a totally different operation with Brian Kelly than it is with Sherrone Moore. Yes, it's going to be impossible for him to replace Harbaugh wholeheartedly, probably very quickly. I don't want to limit him, but I mean, let's be realistic when I'm talking about Sherrone Moore. But you are doing the best thing you possibly can to combat the changing landscape of college football and all these new transfer portal rules by keeping it in-house.
And you have one of the toughest schedules in the country next year.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. But speaking about nightmares, if you're pissed off, you hadn't kept to your New Year's resolution, all right, maybe you're not working out enough, maybe you got bored, which is the number one deterrent in continuing to work out. Let me tell you about FitBod. It's literally in the name. You need to check it out because as you get stronger, as I mentioned, sticking to the same old routine can lead to a plateau in results, right? Boredom equals procrastination. What FitBod is, it's an app that creates personalized workouts based on your goals, abilities, and gym setup while helping you track and visualize your progress along the way. It is built for you. We talk about promote from within at Michigan. This is working out from within, all right? And it keeps the body guessing. All right, and we use FitBod. It's unbelievably easy. Helped us lose weight to get ready for the movie for Lady Ballers. It adjusts to your equipment. It is personalized for you. Keeps it fun. Makes it easy. You don't have to sit here and go drive to certain spots. You can do it from home. It helps you learn new movements. All right, with over 1,400 HD demonstration videos, plus a full year of FitBod is less than the cost of a single session with your personal trainer. That to me is the hook, line, and sinker right there. So add FitBod to your workout essentials today. Join FitBod to get your personalized workout plan and get 25% off of your subscription, or try the app free at fitbod.me/booster. That's fitbod.me/booster. Doesn't matter if you listen on or watch on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, TikTok, Facebook, FaceTalk, whatever it's called, and some social media app I don't even know about. True Social, whatever.
Faceback.
You need Faceback.
Yep.
Faceback. I'm telling you, go to fitbod.me/booster. It is a fantastic product and makes it fun. Speaking about fantastic products, you want to help out the show? You love us? Really? Right? I'm going to keep it real with them, son.
Try to kill my father, man.
Tried to kill my father, man. Go get one of our hoodies or one of those Lady Ballers candle, which to me smells absolutely perfect. All right, let's get to the Booster Club.
Booster Club, what is up, chat? Hit that like and subscribe button.
Do it now!
If you donate, I will read it if it's on topic. We're talking about college football and you put a cricket donation in there, I'm probably not going to get to it immediately.
Do it now or I'm going to choke Blaine out live on TV.
Look, I'll do it for the clicks. Let's go to Tim Cornet. Tim, what's up, brother? He wants to know, what do you make of the Chargers not letting their offensive coordinator interview with any other teams? Seems strange to me for a team looking for a new head ball coach.
Does seem odd.
Yeah, that does seem odd. It seems like in today's world, I don't know how the hell you'd get that worked in the contract if you can't interview at certain places. It is interesting to see. But look, the Chargers do this a different way. They really do. Like, we talk about the way that Green Bay does it a different way. The Chargers do it a different way.
I mean, is Kellen Moore in consideration if Jim Harbaugh turns this
shovel face?
Is that the next up?
I mean, look, dude. Kellen Moore's a coach. I like Kellen Moore.
I like Kellen Moore,
especially as a play caller, but I don't know if he's ready to take on that task. I think he's a little bit young to take on the Chargers. They need khakis and cleats in there. They need Goofy Jim in there. Goofy Jim wins.
Somebody needs to come in there and weird it up.
Yeah.
Right? You're in L.A., right? You just moved from San Diego. Where was Jim Harbaugh's first coaching job? University of San Diego. Knows the area. Yep. Can walk in there. He can be quirky. He can walk into a Billabong shop, with roller skates on or something. I like the fit. It just makes sense.
Go to Leroy Jose. He says, who does Harbaugh have a better chance of winning with? Right now, the Chargers or the Falcons. Someone give me a case for the Falcons.
I can't.
How would you give me a case?
Weaker division,
more better draft picks this year. All the quarterbacks coming out of the draft, you got to get a quarterback if you're Atlanta, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. You go and win the NFC South. You're getting home field advantage, like we just saw the Bucs get hosting the Eagles.
No, I mean the division argument's probably the best one, and then obviously we'll see what happens with Justin Fields. Bijan Robinson's an absolute nightmare. I saw where they projected the Falcons to take Brock Bowers. Can you imagine Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts? Somebody get him the ball.
Yeah.
Somebody just throw the ball up in the air.
Design some plays for him.
Like we could turn this into. You remember that game at recess? Did you ever play Jackpot?
Yeah.
Where everybody would stand. Like one person would have the ball, right, and everybody would stand like 30 yards away, and you throw it up and you call out how much it was. Like, hey, 300. Or whatever, you have to jump up and get it. That's what it turned into. With Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers? Are you kidding? That'd be fun to watch.
Let's go to Wasasa. What is up, dude?
Wasasa!
Where do you think Bill Belly is going to end up next?
There's fewer spots on the board now. I mean, we're going to talk about
if we're saying Harbaugh's going to the Chargers, I mean, you gotta like build to the Falcons, right? Does Bill Belichick in the ATL just, I don't know, something about that, it kind of feels like it wouldn't work, but then it kind of would, right? I don't know, just, maybe you start hanging out with Ludacris a little bit. Maybe Bill Belichick's hanging out with T.I.
Yeah.
Maybe he's iced out. Maybe that's what Bill needs.
I don't see it, but because I can't see it and visualize it, that's probably what's going to happen.
Without a doubt.
Keeping us on our toes.
All right, $5 donation from Cuse Mode. Appreciate it, brother. Don't trust the ownership of the Chargers despite the amount of talent that currently there. Wouldn't be surprised if Harbaugh passes on L.A.'s other team.
L.A.'s other team. That's a Rams fan.
Yeah, without a doubt. Here's what I'll say, Jimbo. There's always time to change, right? And I understand. I don't want to fall in the trap of it could never work. I think a lot of that had to do with Brandon Staley and the way that he was running it. I just think there's something about Harbaugh that can kind of take the weird way the Chargers do things or the different ways the Chargers do things because he does things a different way. Sometimes, two negatives make a positive, I guess, right? They always say opposites attract, and that's true, right? I mean, hell, my wife's from Tuscaloosa. But sometimes attractiveness attracts.
Well, they have to do something. I mean, think about it. When we were growing up, there was no NFL team in LA. Now you have two of them, and the team across town just won a Super Bowl a couple seasons ago. You got the Lakers, you got USC football, UCLA, Hollywood's out there. You got to do something to get people's attention. You just came from San Diego.
All right, we're gonna get back to the Booster Club. Let's go ahead and get into these predictions here.
Let's do it. All right, I got the lines up, boys. Let's start in the NFC. San Francisco is going to host the Detroit Lions. That's a true underdog story right now. Lions +7 right now for the Lions. They're over under 51. What do you make of that?
Well, the weather, I think, is going to be better, which when you have Brock Purdy, right, who's got carnival hands, let's be honest, it's something you got to look at, even though he did lead him on a game-winning drive last game. The Lions, I feel like, are America's team. I think everybody wants the Lions to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. And everybody's knocking the 49ers for the way they played against the Packers. I just want everybody to understand, in a sudden death, single elimination, win or go home format, it's just about winning. I think the 49ers didn't play well and still found a way to win a game against a Packers team that was playing with house money and was really hot right now. We see this in the NCAA basketball tournament all the time. We see this in any postseason playoff format where it's single elimination. I always use the example of the year to bring it back home. Auburn made the Final Four. They beat New Mexico State by 1 point in the first round. Sometimes you are not going to play great. Sometimes you're just going to have to survive. We talk about winning in multiple ways. What's the hardest way to win? When you don't play well. I don't think any side of the ball really played that well for the 49ers against the Packers, but they found a way to win. I highly doubt that a team that is probably right now the second most complete in all three phases outside of the Ravens, talking about the 49ers, I don't see them putting that type of performance out there again. I think they survived it. And there's something to be said for surviving a rock fight like that. There's something to be said for seeing your life as a team flash before your eyes and what you want to do in the playoffs against a team that is inferior to you. So while the Lions may be America's team, and I would not be upset at all if the Lions won, I don't see the 49ers playing that way again like they did against the Packers, especially if the weather's better. And I also don't see the Lions secondary playing as well as they did against the Bucs. I don't. I think those two things were anomalous. I really believe the fight. Now, the 7, that's a lot of points. I know the weapons that Jared Goff and them have, and they are hot right now. But I'm just telling you, at the end of the day, I just don't see the Niners playing the way they played against the Packers with who they have and what they have, even though Debo, like you said, is probably going to play. He's not going to be 100%. But I don't see the Lions secondary being able to lock up all those guys the way they did.
So, Blaine, Debo Samuel, MRI confirmed no fractured shoulder, but his status for the game is still unclear.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're the 49ers, I wish we had more talent on the field.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Look, Debo's a huge piece. He's one of the best receivers when it comes to yak yardage, which is yards after the catch. He's a running back receiver. The guy's he can do anything when it comes to offense. What I look at in this, and one thing that does scare me if you're an NFL fan, is the Packers came out and punched the 49ers in the face early, all right? And there's nothing scarier than the team with that much talent getting punched in the face and then responding like that. Sometimes, especially in the playoffs, you just have to win a football game, and I don't think people give the Packers enough credit on how good they were playing when it comes down. And style makes fights, all right? We said this on the show all the time. And the Lions defense, okay, especially that defensive line and that secondary, when it comes to running, stopping the run is not good. It's not good. And if the 49ers with Trent Williams and these monsters come up, can average 4 to 5 yards on the ground with CMC, and you open up between the tackles, and then Debo, if he does play, on the outs, on the end arounds, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle in the middle, I think the 49ers will be too much for the Lions. I do think the Lions will keep it close, but the 49ers are a complete football team. If Dre Greenlaw's out there, all right, Fred Warner out there, all right, how does Jared Goff play with these linebackers? You can write it down. You can put it in stone, all right? I've seen this Lions defense. Aiden Hutchinson, that's great. You got a string of sacks. That spin move's not going to work against Trent Williams, buddy. All right, I tell you that right now. The more I like the Lions to cover the 7.5, but I do think the 49ers win this football game.
Well, I want to make sure we give the Packers their flowers. Everybody talked about Jordan Love, and they should, right? Everybody was talking about the young wide receiver core that they have, and they should. The Packers kicked the Cowboys' ass and the Niners' ass up front. Look at who's playing on both sides of the ball for the Cowboys and the Niners up front. So to me, that shows you how well the Packers were playing, how far they were punching above their weight. I don't know what the odds are on Christian McCaffrey to have 2 or more touchdowns. I would bet that. I would take the over probably in this game with the weather being better, because I think the Niners will score 30-something points against this Lions defense, right? The Lions are going to have to get to Brock Purdy. You are going to have to get Brock Purdy on the ground. Because if he has any time...
Plus 140.
That's plus 140?
Christian McCaffrey.
2 plus touchdowns?
Plus 140.
Oh, God, I'll John Dillinger my way through that. Pull up in the buggy and get busy.
That's awful, yeah.
Such terrible
Still plus money, though.
Yeah. I mean, this game, like Jared Goff is going to have to win this game for the Lions. Like you're going to have to.
He has a lot of pieces.
You're going to have to put up 30+ against this 49ers team to win.
Well, and that was what I was going to get to next. But you know what? Here's what I have to say. Why don't y'all keep the 7? Y'all hold that 7. Lions money line plus 250.
Wow.
Let's go. Lock it in right now. There's something different going on in the state of Michigan right now. I don't know. This is just a year of destiny.
So are we willing to make a bet out of this?
Ooh. What did I just tell you? I said hold the 7 plus 250 money line. All right. So yeah, we can make a bet out of it. That's
You're
what I'm
a sexy town, Flip.
Now, when it comes to the unders, I almost always take unders when it comes to the NFL, especially in the playoffs with the clock rules. I mean, the Chiefs got 1 possession in the first quarter the other day, and I think that
overhit.
That over still hit. Yeah, but this one, I'm feeling like we're in for a shootout. Over under plus 51.
I'm with you.
Locking in the over on this?
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on the over. I am. This feels like a, you said it's 51?
Mm-hmm.
This feels like a 37-30 game to me.
See, the only thing that worries me is going to be a lot of running the football in this game. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think there could be a lot of chunk plays.
I wouldn't be surprised if Christian McCaffrey has 30+ touches. I wouldn't be surprised.
Good.
If Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery combined for almost 30 touches.
Good.
That's going to be a lot of clock running.
Get the best players the ball.
It's going to come down to what it comes down to over-unders. Every time, can you score 7 points or kick 3?
That's exactly right.
That's what exactly.
Can I get a special teams touch? Can I get an amen?
Yes, please.
All right, AFC Championship, Baltimore Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. That line, plus 3.5 Chiefs, getting over a field goal there. The money line would be 150, over under 44.5.
Tell me what's the spread again?
Plus 3.5.
3.5.
Here's what I'll say. When you're playing against Pennywise, right, who is Patrick Mahomes, who feeds off fear and desperation and anger, just makes him bigger and scarier. I think the Ravens are the perfect remedy for the Chiefs this year. Why? How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? You overwhelm him with balance as a team. You overwhelm him with versatility in all 3 phases. You have to completely beat the Chiefs to beat Patrick Mahomes. You blow up the dungeon, you blow up the evil king. That's how it works. And the Ravens, to me, in all 3 phases, are the best team in the NFL right now. Offensively, defensively, and special teams. Justin Tucker isn't missing that kick at the end, buddy. You can bet your bottom dollar, little orphan Annie, that he's making that one. Probably splitting the uprights. You look defensively with what they have running around with the Ravens, who it seems like they're always good on defense. We know that mentality. But Lamar Jackson finally has weapons. I think they can, with what the Chiefs are doing, and if you go look at the second half adjustments the Chiefs are making on defense, it's insane. I don't think a team has scored 10 points in the second half against the Chiefs in like the last 8 games. It's amazing and we talk about Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy who was there, and that's great. We should, right? The milk and cookies mustache man. He's an absolute legend, Hall of Famer. Right? They've won 6 in a row in the playoffs. But Spagnuolo is maybe the most underrated guy in the NFL.
I agree.
With what he's doing defensively this year. It's a defensive team.
Yep, it is.
Right? The Chiefs are just figuring out offensively. I like the Ravens. I like a minus 2.5. I'm not touching 3.5. There's no way in hell I'm doing it. Okay. Right? Because this game could probably come down the field goal. You said the over-under is at what, David?
44.5.
44.5. I haven't looked at the weather, but I have coached in Annapolis, which is somewhat close to Baltimore. If the weather can get really weird and wonky up there, I just feel like the balance of the Ravens is the perfect remedy to beat a hot Chiefs team that sees like they're figuring it out and they're in their element in play.
All right, we're kind of aligned on this one because I like the Ravens in this game. I think they're that good. They're that focused. Lamar's playing at that high of a level. I have a lot of questions when it comes to giving Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce more than a field goal, even though it's on the road. I know there won't be the same mentality it was with the Bills because the Bills can't seem to get over that.
Bills are afraid of them.
The Ravens, they don't care at all. They want to play the best and beat the best. But 3.5 with the Chiefs, Blaine?
See, it's amazing to me y'all think this is about football, this game. It's not.
You mean the football game?
It's not.
You think it's already locked in?
It's locked.
It's already decided?
It's locked.
It's written?
It's like, look, they want Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl, fellas. That's what they want. So that's what they're going to get. All right? I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Swift caught a touchdown pass in this game. I wouldn't be. They want the Chiefs. They want Travis Kelce. Odds? They want Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl. The Ravens are a better team. They're a better team, better roster. Lamar's playing great. It doesn't matter. Patrick will close his eyes, run around for 30 minutes, and somehow Travis Kelce will be doing the tango in the end zone wide open. I'm done picking against the Chiefs. I'm done doing it. They looked like ass the whole year. The whole year, they looked terrible. But all of a sudden, the playoffs start, and they just run like a complete new team out there. And Andy Reid's like, all right, guys, we're going to start trying.
All right, we're going to start playing with our dominant hand.
We're going to start trying now. The Ravens are a better football team. Defense is great. Cal Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. Hell, their worst players, Jadeveon Clowney. On defense, must be nice. Don't care. Justin Watson and the Chiefs will win.
Do you like the over here, 44.5?
I was just wondering that.
Yes.
I think I do, actually.
I like the over in this game better than I like the over in the Lions.
So we're taking both. We're taking both home teams and the over. Look, chalk it up.
No, I'm not. I'm taking the Lions.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
Don't get me.
Jackie.
Look, I'm trying to be
a good
right.
punishment.
Yeah.
Bet for David what he has to do.
Y'all think about what Blaine should have to do when the Lions go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, blow up doll to dinner. All right, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The phone lines are going to open up here in about 14 minutes. Do want to tell you about a new sponsor that we have that we're super duper jacked and tan about. All right, we know, and you guys know, if you're watching the show or listening in or however you consume it, there's nothing like watching your favorite sport in person. The fans, the food, the friendship. There's just something about catching it live. That's why the Game Time app is something you need to have. What is a Game Time app, you say, Jake? Good question. Please, let me tell you. It's a fast and easy way to buy tickets online. Here in Nashville, we have a little bit of everything around us. We got the NHL. Obviously, we know about the Titans. Going to get into Brian Callahan in a minute. To concerts, honky-tonk capital of the United States. We can get tickets up to an hour before the event. So don't panic. You don't have to be panicking, Skywalker. And one of the best perks of their app is being able to see what the view from your seat will look like ahead of time. With Zone Deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for big time savings. They also have flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets. It's unbelievably easy. You guys got to trust me on this one. You'll always get the best price guaranteed. And if you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code BOOSTER for $20 off your first purchase. Again, go to the App Store, create an account with the Game Time app, and use our code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, for $20 off. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed, terms apply. With Game Time, it's always game time. Yeah, rapid fire, David.
All right, let's do it. The Tennessee Titans are working to finalize a deal with Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their next head coach. Brian Callahan, 5 seasons, I believe, with the Bengals as their OC, was a quarterback coach. He's coached Peyton Manning, Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow, son of Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
We've known him for a long time, one of the best offensive line coaches.
Nephew of Big Tom Callahan.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Boy. You could put your head up. Never mind. Do you like this hire for Tennessee? It's not surprising they went offensive, trying to develop Will Levis. Do you like this hire, though?
No, because they're going all in on Will Levis. And I don't believe it. And maybe you could say, all right, well, another quarterback will come along. I think they're making this hire for this guy to turn Will Levis into some mirror image somewhat of Joe Burrow, right? This is why you're bringing the guy in, to develop him. I just have a hard time believing Will Levis isn't going to turn the ball over at an unbelievably high rate. That's just me watching him play. He shows flashes of great things. I'm not saying he can't make great plays. I just don't think he can consistently not turn the ball over. I really don't believe that. But look, if anybody can fix it, it's this guy. Is it the sexiest hire? No. Is it totally opposite of what they had with Mike Vrabel? Yes, maybe that's what they were going for. I got to see what happens with the personnel around him because it can't just be the quarterback. This isn't basketball. This isn't baseball. One guy can't go out there and win it. We'll see. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I understand it. But I just don't trust Will Levis. I just don't.
Well, this is our hometown team now, so I want them to do well. I didn't think they should have moved on. I didn't want them to move on from Mike Vrabel because we had gotten to know him a little bit, but I understand the move. And I understand this, too, going with a young, offensive-minded head coach. Blaine, they're not going to have the same pieces that the Cincinnati Bengals had that he's been the offensive coordinator of for the last couple of years.
Just a weird hire to me, to be honest. Who? We fought Mike Vrabel for who?
Bill Callahan's son.
Bill Callahan's son? No. No, why am I not looking at Ben Johnson from the Lions? Why am I not looking at Jesse?
Super Bowl
why am I not looking for the DC from the Ravens? We got who? You drafted Joe Burrow. How much did you have to coach him? Hey, Joe, do your thing. Hey, Jamar T. Higgins, they're down.
Hey, here's an idea. Throw it to Jamar Chase. And hey, throw it to the rest of the army we've put together. With a bad O-line, though. With a bad O-line.
I need you to this would be my coaching point to Will Levis.
Got some good
I need you to start being a little bit more like Joe. All right? Start being a little bit more like Joe, Will.
Got some good play out of Jake Browning down the stretch of the season.
Jake's cold. All right? Look, you go back to watch.
Can Will Levis be that?
Jake's got a little bit of that.
Have you seen? Okay,
yes.
Look, let me tiptoe around this. All right? Oh, you're both married men. Look, I believe in any guy. All right?
Yeah.
He's got that sitting up in a suite.
Yeah.
All right?
I do too. There's something about it.
I don't even have to.
It's like whenever
I saw her, I don't even have to look.
It's like whenever a head coach gets hired in college, I look how good looking his wife is, and I can tell you how good he is at recruiting. Like I can just tell you, especially if he's ugly.
Or how much money he has.
I mean, that goes.
Will Levis,
you heard of
Will Levis can't
NIL?
be that?
You ever heard of NIL?
Will Levis can't be that guy in Tennessee?
No, I don't think so. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm rooting for the guy.
What is that guy? Like who? Like
Joe Burrow?
He ain't
Will Levis be Joe Burrow?
Franchise? No.
Maybe he can stay healthy.
Maybe Blake Bortles?
Oh,
Blake Bortles?
Blake
Bortles?
Bortles?
Okay sometimes.
Blake
come in and give us
Bortles?
some?
That's
Can we get some?
Who's your comp?
Can we get some Baker
to
Mayfield
Will
vibes?
Levis?
Who's your?
Can we get some Baker Mayfield vibes? Maybe.
No, he ain't Baker, dog.
I would say.
Rounds to a playoff game. Good luck, Will.
Well, Will is athletic, right? I mean, he's able to run. He's tough. He's a heavy runner. To me, he's a smaller, wilder Josh Allen. That's who he is to me. Because he's going to turn the ball over at an incredible rate. He's going to run guys over. He's going to throw it 800 yards down the field.
Okay, well, he's got a lot of numbers to put up if you want to be Josh Allen.
I'm not saying he's diet Josh Allen. I would take Josh Allen over this man. Again, Josh Allen's got flaws, right? Josh Allen's got flaws. I don't know, man. This could be one of those coaching hires that doesn't move the needle, but it works out. I just know what's going to happen. They're going to be sitting in a room. He's going to have the film with Will Levis. And he's going to be like, watch what Joe Burrow does right here. He's like, that's so good. Now let's see what you did.
Well, I think
that's not so good.
The first thing, if you're coming in and you're Callahan, the first thing, if Will Levis is your guy, you have to fix the offensive line. Your offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL.
Well, he's coming over from the Bengals, so
DeAndre Hopkins.
If anybody knows how to work around that.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is not getting any younger. All right, you have Treylon Burks. I do like the kid out of Tulane, Spears.
Tajay Spears, who we interviewed at the Senior Bowl last year. Really loved that interview.
So you have a lot of things to fix, but I thought Will showed a lot, put some good things on tape.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He'll put good things on tape. He puts and we've got a long way to go with Will Levis. Like he's got a long time to prove himself, in my opinion, at least a year, which some people say, oh, that's not a long time. It actually is in the NFL. Will Levis puts just enough good stuff, wow stuff on tape where you're like, got to give him another chance. That's what I'm saying. To me, it's almost dangerous. It's like the guy who's going to go shoot a bunch of crazy threes, right? And he'll make 2 crazy threes, and you're like, whoa. Well, but it's really not like what's best for the team for him to keep shooting crazy shots. That's what I feel like Will Levis is, that to me.
Well, this will give him a better shot than he had before, right?
I agree with that.
Come in, help him develop. All right, let's go to the next one here. I want you guys to watch this clip from Dana White. This was before the Strickland fight this past weekend, and we saw the videos going around Strickland when he got
This is in Canada, right?
I believe so, yes, up where the fight was, which I don't think Joe Rogan went up there to even commentate because of the
I would only go up there to save Kirk with Skyhook.
Anyway, Dana White got asked this question at UFC, and he had this to say about freedom of speech. You guys want to run this?
You obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash? Free speech. Control what people say. Going to tell people what to believe. Going to tell people. I don't tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want, and they can believe whatever they want.
That's the perfect response.
It's the perfect response. Now, that doesn't mean that when every boss operates like that. Adam Silver doesn't operate like that in the NBA, right? You say one bad thing about China, and there's guys in suits that show up at your house. So I think this is just another great example of why Dana White is the best commissioner or head of any sport that there is. I really believe that. And yeah, we've met Dana. Has Dana done things that I don't agree with in the past? Yes. But I think Dana would be the first one to sit here and say, hey, I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the transparency, right? And I think what we're seeing now is that the scariest part to me is that guy who asked that question, it's like a foregone conclusion to some people that free speech just isn't around anymore. Mm-hmm. That it's just like, oh, well, you're controlling what everybody says. And once everybody thinks that what people are saying gets controlled, then it never ends up good. There's never a branch off of that ends up good. The only thing that did was Dana White's response there. And I tell you what, I feel bad, not to get too deep in this, for our Canadian friends up north, because I know there's a lot of really good people in Canada that don't like what's going on, just like there's a lot of people here. But luckily, I think we're in a little bit of a different situation than Canada is from our ability as the people to kind of end up controlling what we want to control. I'm worried about them up there, man.
Yeah, me too. And whether you agree with Dana White or disagree with Dana White, at least he stands firm on a position so that you can agree with him or disagree with him. So many of these other commissioners, they toe a corporate line. They toe a corporate line with their PR marketing message, and I don't really know what they think or what they believe, and it's hard to even agree or disagree because you're just getting a statement full of nonsense.
Well, it's design. That's by design. Like they don't even want you to ask questions about what they believe. They just want to go with the status quo, right? What's politically correct, what's not going to cause any trouble. And, there's part of me, David, that I guess I can understand some of it, not trying to make waves.
It's a bigger risk to do that.
It's a bigger risk to do that. But it'd be different if you were just like, listen, it's like the NHL did, like with the Pride Night stuff. Like we're just not even going to touch it. We're not going to touch.
Oh, that's back though.
Any of that. It is. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Edmonton Oilers.
It's amazing. Well, Canada.
What a great win streak.
Don't count that. But I wish you'd just stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Let's keep sports about sports. But no, I thought that answer from Dana was perfect.
Man, I agree. I think Dana's just a beacon of light of hope of what commissioners of sports leagues should be. And one thing I do think, it has to be tough to tell any fighter what to say.
Yeah.
Can you imagine looking at a Sean Strickland or a John
like, hey,
Jones,
watch your mouth.
A John Jones on a Conor McGregor, be like, hey, man, you can't say that.
Yeah, shut up.
That'll never work. But no, this is America. The same thing's happening here, though. I mean, our free speech is getting limited all the time. What's the difference between free speech and hate speech? That's always the question.
Yeah.
All right, next one up, talking about the NBA, Joel Embiid dropped 70 last night.
Cat dropped 62.
Wow. Well, we know how the scoring and the defense is in the NBA these days, but still impressive.
That's impressive. It's a six. I think he overtook Wilt Chamberlain.
Broke Wilt Chamberlain's franchise record.
Unbelievably impressive. Regardless of whether you watch the NBA or not, I think it's a bad product right now because they don't tailor to their consumers. I'll watch in the playoffs because that's when everybody's really playing. But I mean, hell, you go to the Y and drop 70 points, people are going to be impressed. I mean, Joel Embiid, I will tell you, as somebody that's gone to NBA games and seen the size of these individuals, it's really hard for me not to say the NBA has the best athletes in the world.
Oh,
it's just, I know the NFL's right there. There's huge guys that can do amazing things, but watching what some of these guys, like a Joel Embiid or Victor Wembanyama are just, LeBron, it's incredible. It's incredible. Even the shorter guys that are able to do, because I don't root for an NBA
like Luka.
I root, 5'8". Luka's 6'8". I root for anybody that's under 6'3" in the. I don't have a team. I just root for everybody that's under 6'3", because I don't care what position you play. If you're under 6'3" and you're playing in the NBA, JJ Barea may be the greatest athlete of all time. Like John Stockton, right? Like short guys in the NBA that are balling. Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy?
Yeah.
I mean, he could fit in a cupcake in a stocking during Christmas.
Well, I believe this Joel Embiid played the Spurs.
Against that alien.
You kind of see the difference of a guy who's built like Joel Embiid and a guy who's built like whatever that thing's name is.
Wembanyama? Gumby?
Joel Embiid's 7 foot, probably close to 300 pounds.
Monster.
He's an absolute, he's a type, if you send Joel 150 years ago to a random place, it's Godzilla 4.
No.
All right,
he's Xerxes.
Like that, he's the type of guy, he can give it to you any way he wants to.
Yeah.
Right? Post.
Handles.
Turn around. Dunk. Fade away. Can bang the three. Can dribble the ball up and run the offense. That is deathly terrifying. All right, Wembayama, yeah, it's fine. He's 8'3", but he's also negative 37 pounds. All right, that's hard to win in the post. Joel's a grown-ass man. All right, NBA filter. Same thing with Cat. These bigger body guys, you see it with Jokic. Like, I've never seen a guy who's 7 foot, 500 pounds, move so slow but so quick.
Yeah.
At the same time, right? And that's what.
And then go ride horses.
Yeah. Then who doesn't care about basketball? Can you imagine being the best player at something and not caring about it?
Man, that'd be so cool. If Patrick Mahomes was like, man, football's okay, but God, I love Parcheesi.
Like, God, man, you ever just looked at the room?
He's like really good at Halo.
Yeah,
like,
he just loves Yahtzee.
Him and Hugh Freeze. Speaking about a guy, I don't know if he loves Yahtzee or not. All right, probably does, because he's a stand-up guy. From On3, one of the best, was a hell of a player, too. Our good friend, Andy Staples. Andy, what's up, dog?
Oh, not a whole bunch. That conversation about the basketball, like the best athletes in the NBA. Just think about it. If you've ever played a pickup game with like a mid-major D1 player.
Yeah.
And seen what they can do.
Dude.
Because they just dominate every normal human being.
For sure.
Imagine what those NBA guys do. It's incredible.
I'll never forget, Andy, the first NBA game I ever went to. Listen, I've been to a ton of SEC games, high-level college football games, NFL games. I've seen some monsters. I'm talking about Mordor specials. I'm talking about, please, God, where's the ring?
You looked at Jordan Davis?
Yeah, Jordan Davis. Oh. Literally, he's the one who's got the Eye of Saruman.
Yeah, he's the one you send first.
He is the one you send first to the hot gates.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh, man, I hate when you throw me off. But it's the first NBA game I went to was a Bucks-Nuggets game in Denver. And I'm going there with a girl that I had dated before I met Love My Life. Shout out Reed. And so I'm like, the first thing I got to do in there, because our seats were kind of high up, I was like, I got to go to floor level just to see how big these guys are. Bro, when I tell you Andrew Bogut is the biggest breathing animal I've ever seen. I've been to SeaWorld. I've been on a safari. I've been to the zoo. Andrew Bogut's the biggest breathing thing that is living and can think that I've ever seen in my life. Andy, have you been in an NBA game before?
Oh, yeah. No, I grew up in Orlando, and I had a buddy whose family had like a third of a season ticket for the Magic. And so they would bring me along every once in a while. So I got to see a lot of young Shaq. Got to see, you talk about Muggsy Bogues. So Muggsy Bogues, Larry Johnson, Grandmama, young Alonzo Mourning with the Hornets.
Lonzo.
That was the big rivalry. And I got to see Jordan play a couple times. And it's unbelievable. And then when I was at SI, I covered the finals when the Lakers were playing the Magic. And to see Kobe, like the just basically whatever fraction of a centimeter that Kobe needed to squeeze a shot off was incredible. Because I covered a ton of high level college basketball, and you see how open these guys usually need to be to get a shot off. Like Kobe Bryant needed no space whatsoever, and he's shooting over a dude who's like 6'10".
It's incredible,
and it didn't matter.
Well, it's like, Andy, we don't give quarterbacks, especially the short ones, enough credit for throwing through windows on the offensive line because you just don't get that angle. Like, there's an angle of the Brock Purdy throw on third down against the Packers that just shows you how elite of a throw it was, but having to throw through those windows, having to shoot over a guy, it's one thing if you're just out there shooting, right? You get in a rhythm, three-point contest. I'm having to shoot over Boban, or even some of these guards that are literally taller than me with my hand up. That to me is what makes a great scorer. But
think about this though. Before we get to college football, Giannis Antetokounmpo is over 7 feet tall and is a better athlete than the best athlete you knew growing up.
It's horrifying.
The best athlete at your high school, the kid who had the best handles, he's better than that. He has better handles than that kid,
and he's a tree.
See, this
they're still getting put out of the playoffs sometimes.
I'm telling you. If somebody came out, if somebody from the government came out tomorrow and said, all right, guys, the jig's up, Giannis Antetokounmpo is from Zeta Reticula 4, would anybody really be that shocked?
Yeah, if Wemby, the first time you saw Wemby, it wasn't drinking a basketball, it was walking on the White House.
Drinking a basketball?
Dribbling a basketball, well, maybe. It's walking on the White House lawn, right?
Yeah.
That's an alien.
No, for sure. No, I'm with you 100%. That's who I think was in Miami, but that's a story for another day. Andy, speaking about a story, it's Ohio State in NIL, man. It's an interesting situation. When you look at Ryan Day and where he is, so if you're not caught up on him, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Julian Sand, the former five-star Alabama committed quarterback, is now going to Ohio State, and they already have Will Howard, who transferred from Kansas State at quarterback. Devin Brown's still there. We'll see how that ends up. You bring in Caleb Downs, who to me is going to be the best DB probably in college football next year at safety or corner or nickel. Don't call it slot corner. That's a terrible way to put it, and I hate that word. And you look at what they return, but then having C.J. Stroud set up this NIL fund where it's kind of giving back to the university is absolutely brilliant. But is Ryan Day, Andy, because I've said here multiple times, and my question is this, with all this transfer portal stuff that Ryan Day is doing, they took money away from Jim Harbaugh when he wasn't beating Ohio State. They're giving money to Ryan Day to try and beat Jim Harbaugh and Michigan if Harbaugh's still there.
Well, they're not giving it to Ryan Day. They're giving it to the players, which is
you know
better.
what I'm saying, to load up the team for Ryan Day. And ipso facto, right? It's a metaphor, but it really happened. Is this a one-year deal for Ryan Day? Like, if you can on one hand say, we can be 1-11, but if we beat Michigan, it doesn't matter. And then say, we're 11-1, but we lost to Michigan now for 4 straight years, which would be the second loss at home. Not saying he would get fired, but would there be a mutual kind of parting of ways, or would Ryan Day look to go somewhere else? Because I tell you what, man, you got to beat him eventually, Andy. It got Shula fired, right? It got Shula fired because he couldn't beat Auburn. That was the only thing. Well,
yeah, you got Tommy Tuberville counting fingers.
Yeah.
That's going to get you fired at Alabama. And it's the same thing at Ohio State. Imagine if social media had existed when John Cooper was the coach. Would he have lasted long enough? I think it was 1-10-1 was his record against Michigan. I don't think he would have lasted long enough to get there.
No, he wouldn't.
And that's the same thing with Day in Michigan. He's got to beat that. Now, with the 12-team playoff and them being as good of a roster as they are, like if you lose to Michigan but then go win the national championship, then you're probably okay. But if you lose to Michigan and have an this team, of course, needs to make the playoff. As good as the roster is, it's got to make that 12-team playoff. But if you just go one and done in the playoff, that's not going to be good enough either. This is supposed to be a team that competes for national titles. They have a roster that should allow them to compete for national titles. I mean, I'm going to go into the season probably thinking this is the strongest roster in college football. Them or Georgia.
Georgia,
too.
Yeah.
But the defense that Ohio State brings back is going to be elite.
Yeah.
And the question is, can the offense score enough so that when they play a Michigan, when they play a Georgia, when they, see somebody in the playoff who's really good, they got to play Oregon in the regular season in Autzen. Mm-hmm. Can the offense score enough to make sure they win? And that's the big question. So they bring in Bill O'Brien. So Ryan Day has decided he's abdicating play calling. Bill O'Brien's going to handle that. Ryan Day will do the CEO thing. It's really interesting because they played Missouri in a bowl game. And Ryan Day and Eli Drinkwitz are sitting next to each other on the dais. And Eli Drinkwitz is answering questions about his own decision to stop play calling before this year. They brought in Kirby Moore to call the plays. And Drinkwitz is like, it's the best decision I ever made. It made this team better. I was able to focus on the things I needed to focus on. Kirby handled the play calling. All was well. So if you're Ryan Day and you're just overwhelmed, you can't beat Michigan, everybody wants you gone, and you're about to lay an egg in a bowl game, I think you're thinking, you know what? Maybe I need to overhaul this thing too. And you look at the changes they've made, plus the players they've brought in, it is sort of do it now or don't do it at all. I think there's a saying that involves the phrase "get off the pot" that I would use on that one. So, but yeah, that they've got to be good now, or it's going to be like, okay, maybe this isn't working long term, and they wouldn't fire him. It would just be a case of, okay, here's another job. I'm going to go do that. But I don't know that they're going to have to. Like, I think they're going to be really good.
I mean, they are, Andy. I mean, it's hard not to look at that Ohio State roster with what they've added, even on the defense side, and be like, listen, if you can't be, because we got to remember, Tony, before I throw it over to you, there's no more divisions in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different circumstances that could happen with Ohio State and Michigan. You could legitimately have a situation where Michigan plays Ohio State 3 times. Mm-hmm. You really could. But what happens if Michigan beats Ohio State the last game of the regular season, and then Michigan beats them in the Big Ten championship game. I don't know how you get past that. I don't see that happening.
Florida coach Ryan Day, that's what happens.
Florida coach Ryan Day. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I like that. That's why we get the stapler on here.
Yeah.
He's putting it together.
Or Bears. Maybe he could fail upwards.
Hey, look, we'll see what that Dr. Seuss named coach does in Chicago, right? Eberflus.
Andy.
And a wiener goose.
Alabama football, Andy. I think they went out and got a heck of a coach in Kalen DeBoer. We've seen sort of this mini mass exodus of players when we talk about Caleb Downs leaving and they lost the number one quarterback recruit in Julian Sang. I think those are just some getting over the humps for Alabama fans are going to have to get used to now that Nick Saban has retired. But they got a really solid football coach in Tuscaloosa. What do you think the ceiling and floor is for the 2024 season?
Well, ceiling's still national title. I mean, you've got a coach who took his team to the national title game last year. You've got a roster, most of which made the playoff last year. You've got the quarterback coming back. You can take this because if we think about the players who left, and they did have a lot of players go to the portal, but there's still like 64 and 5-star recruits left. Yeah. And by the way, there's more coming, and they'll get more in the spring transfer portal too. They won't be from the SEC because of that transfer rule, but they'll get plenty. And then some of this, like Julian Sayin leaving. It's not a coincidence that he left when Austin Mack, the quarterback who redshirted at Washington last year, committed to Alabama. That happened. One happened one afternoon, and the other happened the next morning. So it makes sense how this is working. So you're going to have to deal with the initial part of it, but then you see how he recruits. We'll find out. We don't know if he's going to be able to recruit as well as Nick Saban. My guess is very few people can, not named Kirby Smart, but I do think, given his history, he's going to win. The question is, can he win the way Nick Saban won? The answer is probably no. Yeah. And how okay are they going to be with that if it's, you win 10 games a year and then some years you win 15 and win the national title, but you might not win 13 games every single year. That might not happen.
Yeah. Double-digit wins every year since his first one is truly incredible. I think you and I are fairly aligned there. I want to ask you one more question quickly since you brought up SI earlier. We saw over the weekend, Sports Illustrated, the publisher, laid off their entire staff there. It's kind of surprising news. The future's unclear. How did we get to this point with such an iconic brand, and what will be the future moving forward for Sports Illustrated?
Well, so I worked there for 11 years, and I left in 2019. And the day I left was when the group that currently runs it took over, or it was announced they were coming. I made sure I got out of there before they got there. Yeah. And because I knew they were going to run it into the ground, and it was very sad then. And it's just, the way they've run it has been kind of like an ATM. Like, we're just going to take some cash out of this thing, bleed it dry. And it sucks for the people who work there because there's still a lot of really good people working there. They didn't actually lay everybody off. But the folks that are still just hanging in there and doing the best they can, I just feel bad for because they're still doing really good work, but they've layered so much crap on top of it that they've really devalued the brand, and it's just sad to see.
Yeah, thanks for that perspective.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, we're going to get into the chat here. I know we don't have much time. We're going to start off with Christopher Jordan. He wants to know, is conference expansion good for the sport, in your opinion?
Well, I think if you got a bunch of like teams together and really it was just teams that are really serious about football playing each other, I think that'd be great. I think not every school has to have big time football. Like the schools that are charging their students like a $15 per credit hour athletics fee and nobody actually cares about sports at those schools, like they don't necessarily need to be in the FBS. They can be FCS schools and nobody would shed a tear. And I think that's the part that everybody thinks that, just because your school's in the FBS, like everybody in the FBS should have a chance. No, everybody who's willing to put in the same amount of work and resources and money should have a chance. So maybe that number's 40, maybe that number's 50. I don't know what the number is, but that's who should be playing each other at the top. And then everybody, like schools should play like schools.
Yes.
And so a lot of schools in the MAC and Conference USA do not belong in the same subdivision as the schools of the SEC and the Big Ten. They just don't. And the sooner everybody comes to that realization, the better off it is for everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't see, heavyweights fighting featherweights in UFC and boxing and stuff like that. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I will say when it comes to conference expansion, the big-time conferences are bringing in big-time teams. And when you bring in big-time teams, that's going to give us more big-time games. Right, I think you're going to see the SEC go to a 9-game in-conference schedule. So you're not losing the non-conference games that are huge. We're not losing Texas versus Alabama.
No,
we're gaining it.
They're getting rid of the games you didn't want to go to in the first place. And they did that on purpose because suddenly people weren't coming to games. Schools that sold out every game easily were struggling to sell tickets. And it's like, oh, maybe our schedules have gotten stale. And I think next year, when the new SEC schedule kicks in and the new Big Ten schedule kicks in, a lot of people are going to look back and realize, oh my God, they were serving up garbage for 20 years to us. Like these schedules sucked compared to what they are now.
Well, I mean, we had Jim Cavall on yesterday, and he was talking about how much more money college football will generate by getting rid of some of these schedules and having the big dogs all play each other, as opposed to the NFL and what they're bringing in, because the NFL still brings in a massive amount of more money than college football does. But you increase the revenue by having these better matchups. It's just
the timing of the television. Imagine holding your national championship instead of on a Monday night, which it never should be, on the Saturday night after that first round, basically, of wild card NFL playoffs. Yeah. Take the 40, 50 million viewers you have in there, funnel them into the college national championships. You don't have a game at the same time.
That's one thing they kind of, and I've seen this floated that the NFL should buy the college super league, but I don't know that they necessarily have to be part of the same financial organization, but they should sort of work together because they already do kind of work together. Yeah. Like the NFL loves that college football provides all this free marketing for its players when they come in. Like they don't have to market their players because they're already famous. And that's a huge advantage. So I think that's exactly right. Like talk to the NFL and say, hey, let's work this out here. So you've got your Saturday of Super Wild Card weekend. And actually, I think it'd be the divisional Saturday now for the national championship game, which would work perfectly. You could go 1 p.m. kick, 4:30 p.m. kick. Those are your two NFL games. Right into the college football national championship.
God, best Saturday ever. Please.
I even think a great scenario would be if you wrapped up the college season before that, so you have your championship on New Year's Day, especially that. At least then you could start your playoff rounds after the conference championship. Because they're not going to do that, at least give us this. Give us the championship on a Saturday night, which it should be. You've already played your NFL games during the day. Funnel all those millions of people already watching right into the college championship. Yeah. We're going to be in the NFL in the next year anyway, right?
We fixed it.
I shouldn't have to come to work on
that would be an incredible, just as from a viewership standpoint, an incredible day, because I will say something that, like watching the NFL games this past weekend, it was great, but not starting on Saturday till 4:30 Eastern time. I'm like, what do I do with the rest of my day?
Yeah, I'm over there watching Illinois play Rutgers in basketball, just like
Sunday was perfect. This past Sunday, and it was one of the few times I've said that about the NFL. Starting the first game at, I think it was 2 p.m. Central for our time, right? Mm-hmm. Going right in, and the Chiefs-Bills game ended before 9 p.m., which we could go to sleep and come in at 4 a.m. and do our show. I was like, this is the perfect NFL football playoff day.
We should just do it.
It was the best.
We should just tell them to do it ourselves. All right, Andy, you want to help us?
Andy, it's always so great to have you, my friend. Tell everybody where they can find your fantastic work. You guys at On3, absolutely killing it. Got a brand new building, too. Really excited for you guys over there in Shannon and everybody. But tell everybody where they can find your fantastic work, my friend.
So on3.com, the On3 Sports YouTube page. You can find me at Andy_Staples on Twitter and Instagram. And we got shows everywhere. You can find that. You can find my show daily, Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central on the On3 Sports YouTube page. Also on my Twitter feed, pretty much everywhere. We're going to blast it into your brains eventually. Yes, we'll just, we'll chip you and we'll send it right there. And you'll be like, oh, I hate what you said about Michigan. How dare you? And that
we do have Elon on the show.
Yeah, we do have Elon Musk actually on our show right now.
I sat down with Ben Shapiro yesterday. I'm here with you guys today. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. David's just a combination of every human ever born. Andy, we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
All right, Andy Staples, one of the best. For sure.
Yep.
But speaking about the best, look, you already know we love Good Ranchers. I don't even have to look at the teleprompter. I have this ad read. I got a box coming. The butcher's box is coming today, fellas. It's coming today. Steak, chicken, seafood.
What else?
Ham during Christmas.
Go ham, son.
Dude, but Wagyu beef.
pounder.
Wagyu, son. Go Wagyu, son.
Look, I'm telling you, the Good Ranchers, it's the absolute move, right? You're on the carnivore diet.
I'm down 8 right now.
Down
kid.
8, eating nothing
down
but
8
pure
from
meat.
From the Christmas cookie fiasco that
Taking it back hundreds of years. I love the cookie fiasco of 2023.
December, I got after it in December.
Just like that Helsinki episode.
Look, Good Ranchers, they've got unbelievable deals. It's a new year, new meat special, delicious, safe, and convenient. And their chicken, it'll change what you know about chicken. Right? You thought you knew about chicken? You had no clue. You don't even know where to start when it comes to chicken. It's pasture-raised, given 0 antibiotics or vaccines. Best believe that. And it's so tender and juicy, you won't believe it's the same meat you've been eating most of your life. So stock your fridge with an easy-to-prepare, clean, delicious meat all year long. Not sure which box to choose? Try their brand new Weekly Essentials box full of pre-trimmed beef and chicken that helps you meal prep so you can save time without sacrificing flavor. So simply go to GoodRanchers.com. Use our code BOOSTER to enjoy free chicken in 2024. The chickens are pissed. All right, free chicken in 2024, plus an additional $20 off your first order. Change the way you buy meat by switching to Good Ranchers. Subscribe today. Use our code BOOSTER. Get that. You claim over $200 in free chicken and New Year savings. GoodRanchers.com. American meat delivered. We're giving out free chicken, y'all. Somebody get excited. Let's get to the phones.
I got Brian from Boston on the line. Brian, what's up?
From Boston.
What's going on, boys? What happened? You guys get a little bit of snow down there? Shut everything down for a whole week?
Yeah, dude. You thought? Yeah, it's apocalypse now.
It should be allowed to snow down here. It should be
couple inches down there, down south. Oh man, good to have you guys back in the studio. Good to see Skylar back in the building.
Yeah, Skylar.
So it is good.
Skylar.
It is good.
Love hearing from you.
What do you say?
He said, "I love hearing from you."
What I wanted to get to was the coaching. A couple of big coaching decisions over the weekend. One, Kyle Shanahan completely overthinking the last possession before halftime. He was more worried about controlling the clock than scoring points. And
have you seen Kyle Shanahan's pass, Brian? I don't blame him. Oh boy, the clock. He's like Hook in the clock. With the crocodile.
You should know as a Patriots fan.
Yeah, that's true.
I absolutely know. I loved that, and he gets tight in all these big games, and that's going to come back to bite him at some point. He can't get over the hump because he's overthinking it. But the other thing was the Todd Bowles in the Detroit game.
Dude, what the hell?
Instead of the extra point when you're down by 14. And my problem is that I'm worried that these coaches are like too nerdy, for lack of a better word, like over analytical, and they're obsessed with the numbers of it and percentages instead of going with their gut and being like athletes in football.
Well, Brian, here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say, and we've said this multiple times. First, I think Kyle Shanahan kind of did get over the hump because they were able to win a game late in certain clock situations that it's the first time in his career, I believe, that Kyle Shanahan's done it. The second thing, I'm so used to seeing people go for 2 now, down 14. It's almost normalized. I think the worst coaching decision Todd Bowles made was not taking the timeout at the end of the game when the Lions need it too quick. What are you doing? Like, if they miss that field goal with a guy who's less than 40%, from 50 yards out, you get a chance to go down and score and tie the game. But when it comes to the analytics stuff, here's what happens. When you know what the card always says? Just go for it. Like that's all the card says. Just go for it. Choose the most drastic option
most entertaining
possible.
Too. Like people want to see you go for it, so ESPN's like, well, the card says go for it here, so we don't have to see another punt.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, well, the extra point got moved back, so now the percentages are down. Dude, kick the extra point. Kick the extra point. What are we doing? If you want to go for 2, when you go for 2, you go for 2 to win the game at the end. If you're going to do it. Like this, it's cute. It's the Dan Lanning syndrome. It's same, but different, but still same. I don't understand this. The card never says don't go for it. I've never heard the announcer be like, well, it's 4th and 4 from the 42. Card says go.
Well, if the percentages are that much in your favor, why isn't everybody going for 2 all the time? Go for 2 all the time.
I'm with that. I get that.
Change the entire philosophy of the way that you
man.
handle it. Brian, quickly though, the Patriots mantra for the last 24 years has been on to Cincinnati, right? And then you had your new coach, Gerard Mayo, who was hired the day you called in. the previous week, and his first press conference, he's up there talking about race and seeing color and all sorts of stuff. It's a little different than on to Cincinnati, right?
Much different, and thank you for reminding me of that. I'd like to tip my own cap a little bit for having the right instinct of telling you guys I'm not really feeling the Mayo hire when it happened when I was on hold. But yeah, that was atrocious, horrible press conference, and that's not what you want to hear from a head coach. Get out of it. You guys have been touching on it a little bit earlier today with get this stuff out of sports. Like, actually, Todd Bowles had a great answer about that.
Perfect answer.
Years back.
Perfect answer.
And Mayo should be taking his cue from him. And before I go, this one's for you, Blaine. No más Garcia Parra.
No más Garcia Parra. Hey, I will say this. Does anybody else find it ironic that a coach with the last name Mayo was hating on white people in his press conference? I don't know. That just makes me believe we live in the Matrix.
Oh, man.
They'd be like, oh, hey, guess what? John Whitebread just made fun of white people.
John Whitebread. He's a heck of a coach. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Tyler in Florida. Tyler, talk to us.
Ty.
What's going on, boys? So first, I want to say congrats to Tone with the Michigan. You can hear me, right?
We can hear you. I thought we said after yesterday, no more congratulations to David.
Keep it up. Thank you, Tyler.
Listen. I dislike Michigan a lot because I really started watching football in about 2006. So I'm a Florida fan, 2007. You know what happened.
Yeah,
so
I was there.
I never root for Michigan, but,
It was Tebow's Heisman year.
Finally. It ripped my heart out as like a 7-year-old.
Look, man, this might be our only one.
You see what you did, David?
Yeah, as a 7-year-old.
You did
disgusting,
that.
Dude.
Disgusting. I'm sorry, Tyler.
So, no, it's fine. So, Blaine.
Yes.
I want to congratulate and sorry.
No.
Hold on. Let him cook.
No. Jake, listen, I got to talk to you because you picked against the Chiefs. And I don't want to pick on you specifically. I think every year the media gets hype about the Bills.
I took the Chiefs.
At the end of the year.
I did.
I took the Chiefs, Tyler.
I did too.
Yeah, no, Jake took the Bills.
Yeah.
Here, why don't y'all just celebrate it? Yeah. Why don't y'all just go on the street and celebrate? Here's why. This is the first time I've ever picked the Bills in this game. Because remember, Josh Allen's lost this is his third divisional loss in a row. Then he lost the conference championship the year before that and lost the wild card the year before. This is the first time I ever picked the Bills because I felt like it was finally, they get them at home, right? The Chiefs offensively are still trying to figure themselves out. Like, who look in the mirror, like, where are you? Who am I? It's a Blink-182 song. But I thought finally Josh Allen and the rest of the group was going to go down in the gutter and finally kill this clown. They can't do it. You have different type of artists, right? You've got singers, you've got painters, and then you have choke artists. And that's who the Bills are. You're choke artists. There it is. I'll never pick you again. I'll never believe in you again. And I gave you a chance. And I'll never do that again. Von Miller made $2.98 million to tackle this year. Disgusting.
You gotta look at the Bills. I look at the Ravens. If they don't get it done this weekend, you gotta look at them in a very similar light. If it's not this year, when, right?
Yeah.
Because Burrow got hurt, right? The Bills obviously last year got dog walked in Buffalo by Cincinnati, so that's not looking great. You couldn't get past Patrick Mahomes this year. And for the Ravens, I feel the same way. Like, yeah, they're
Well, I don't think the Ravens are going to be scared. I think the Bills were scared.
No. They won't. Yeah. The Bills, I think the Bills walk. Just watching Josh Allen play, I don't know if you guys see this, but every time they show his face on national television, his eyes are open like a puppy. Like, he always looks so freaked out every time I see him. I don't know. It's just really weird. Like,
look at the way
Tyler, what would your eyes look like if Chris Jones was coming to tackle you?
Well, if I was the size of Josh Allen?
No, listen, but listen, I'm not 6'5", 250.
Yeah,
so, there's a
I get it.
Take here.
But Josh eyes might have been.
If I'm Drew Brees, that's might have been huge. But
Josh Allen balled out in this football.
He did ball.
In this football.
Did he? He didn't hit a play for over 18 yards.
Four receivers dropped 40. Easy ball, 40-plus yards.
I get that. I've said that. I thought Josh Allen played well. I'm not saying Josh Allen played bad. I don't think balled out is the word I would use.
He played well, man. And the biggest thing is he didn't have that quintessential turnover late in the game. That's what I felt like was coming. They were both playing some. Yeah, they did. They missed a couple throws, but look,
Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what, he played well enough for the Bills to win.
Yeah, I agree
like
with
he
that.
put on
I
the
agree with
Superman cape, and role players over here for the Chiefs, Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, are having two of the biggest.
Like you have
game.
almost 200 plus yards passing and almost 100 yards rushing as a quarterback against the Chiefs. In my opinion, you balled out. No turnovers.
And I know the Chiefs are playing too high a lot, but Tyler, great call. Call back in, man.
Thanks, Tyler. All right, let's go to Scott in Oregon.
Yeah, if anybody asks, I picked the Chiefs.
Well represented today across the country. Scott, what's
up?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
Hello, Scott.
Henchman turning wrench.
First, I just want to say, hey, Blaine, it's glad to have you back. Glad you're feeling better, buddy. Good seeing you.
Good hearing from you, Scott. Miss hearing your voice, dude.
Jake, I'm sorry, but I got to give David a congratulations on
Hey,
that's right.
Cut the show.
We'll extend it a day.
We didn't have a show when Auburn won the Natty. This is crap.
I'll lower the price of the bat, but I'm not budging on the baby pillow.
Anyway, gentlemen, since my football team never makes the playoffs, I want to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, how you feel about their coaching decision with AP.
I like it.
And what you think.
I like it.
You like it
with the draft? Yeah,
I think
it's too. I think it was a good pick.
I like the vibe. I think Antonio Pierce has got a little. This is going to sound crazy. I think he's got a little Dan Campbell in him, man. Like from a dog mindset, that respect, that not just because you played, but the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the confidence that you infuse into your players. And you can feel that, just like recruiting, it's either genuine or it's not. A lot of guys get up there and talk, right? But it's another thing if you can really impart that on your players. When I see Antonio Pierce on the sidelines, I see him interact with the players, I see him do press conferences, I get it. I actually get what Mark Davis, and I think the Davis family's made a lot of bad decisions from an organizational standpoint. But I get what he saw. Like that vibe, talking about the players, like in that meeting with McDaniel and all that stuff, who I think's a clown, to be honest with you. I've heard from multiple guys that coach in that league that he's really not a very good person.
Who's that?
To be honest, Josh McDaniel. Heard that from multiple people. But when I look at Antonio Pierce, I think he's perfect for the Raiders. I think you need somebody like that. I think that brand needs somebody like that. Now, when it comes down to the draft, the question becomes, what do you feel about the quarterback position, Scott? Like, how do you feel about the quarterback? How do you feel about Aiden? I like Aiden O'Connell.
Well, yeah, when I watched him this year, I mean, the game seemed a little fast for him in the beginning. Seemed like he was coming on.
Well, he's a young guy.
They didn't have a great OC. They moved Bo up to an OC, and I don't think Bo was a good spot, or that was a good position for him. So maybe give Aiden another year. But it really depends on who they bring in as the OC, and you need somebody who's got a good offensive mind, especially in the league they're in and division they're in.
Cliff Kingsbury, I didn't think would be a bad hire.
No, and when it comes to offensive play calling, Cliff Kingsbury, it's never a bad hire. You got the 13th pick in the draft. Okay, are you going quarterback? You going tackle? You going defense? What do you think you need?
At this point in time, I'd almost go offensive line because I think you can still get a decent quarterback in the second round. The way it's looking, what I've seen is they think Penix and Nix will probably drop to the second round. So maybe they can get them there or trade up or make some moves and get like maybe a late first round. But I would go offensive line on the first pick and go from there.
Yeah, I think they're looking at tackle from Oregon State.
Yeah, I agree with you. Scott, great call.
Appreciate it, Scott.
Thank you,
Thanks for the insight, man. All right, we got 3 more callers. Let's go 1 minute each here. Chris in Michigan, how you doing?
Good. Hey, guys. All right, I'll be quick, but I want to talk about Jim to the NFL stuff.
Yeah.
You guys can say, what you think, but me personally, I just, this 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's hurting Michigan. I feel like, and if you see all these coaches like Dan Lanning, Sarkisian all coming out saying they're committed to their school, I feel like, if Jim really wanted to, he should just he should either just, step down and just say, hey, I'm done. I did it for Michigan, or he should just say I'm committed to Michigan. we're working on and I'm sure Michigan will give him a great contract. It just
will they though?
It feels like
are they committed to him? That's the question. Is Michigan committed to him?
Well, if they're not, y'all don't deserve to ever win another game.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But that's what I'm saying. If they're not committed to him, then he can just step down, just leave. Right now, I just feel like at this point, how long it's taking, if he ends up leaving, it hurts Michigan recruiting taking this long. Look at what Ohio's doing. But if he stays, that's a lot of missed opportunity when he could have been recruiting this whole time.
Well, he is going to be. I'll say this, Chris, and I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're far off. Like, it makes sense when you look at the timeline. Couple things. I do want to make sure we understand he is recruiting while he's doing this, right? The operation is still working, and it is very attractive if he were to come back to say, "Hey, the head coach I'm about to go play for turned down 2 NFL jobs." That's a very attractive thing, and when you see the way Michigan's about to perform in this NFL draft, with the amount of guys that get chosen from Michigan, I think it can kind of even out this impact of uncertainty that you're talking about. Because there is an air of uncertainty. But I will say, when you got a guy like Sharon Moore, it's like we opened the show with, waiting in the wings, that can lessen that blow as well. But aren't you so glad you're having these thoughts after winning a natty as opposed to the last 2 years where you didn't win
it? That's the
and like, he may stay, he may go, but at least you won it.
That's the biggest point, Chris. Years prior, I would have agreed with you 100%. Like, whether or not you want to go back to the NFL, just make that decision. I don't think you had accomplished enough up to this point to warrant having 1 foot in, 1 foot out, being wishy-washy. Just either go back or stay at Michigan. Pick one. But this year, after delivering the perfect season, really cementing a legacy that is going to stand the test of time. Now I feel like, and plus I know a little bit more now on the inside about how, Michigan has not committed a contract offer, not one that Jim Harbaugh has felt comfortable with.
Well, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. It's interesting times.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in, Chris.
Appreciate it, bud.
All right, let's go to Kirk in Canada.
All right, there he is.
Talking about Canada earlier.
Skyhook?
Hey, did you guys get some snow, did I hear?
Yeah, we did, man. We did.
Like 2 feet, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. They said, like, we were way tougher than Canada about it, too.
There's like, God, those guys in Tennessee are super tough. And they're like, that Kirk guy in Canada, soft.
Said he's horrified of the snow.
Oh, man. Listen, you guys hear Sean Strickland?
Did you just get kidnapped by North Koreans? Uh-oh. Kirk, can you hear us? Kirk,
they're after you.
Kirk, they're going to get you, dog. I knew it. Kirk, run! Kirk, run! Run, Kirk!
We
They're
just
coming
talked
through the back
about
door!
free speech.
Run away, Kirk!
No, my bad. My
there he is. There he is. Woo. Good.
Oh, God, Morgan Freeman was on the way to
I was about to say the safe word.
Felt like a movie.
My bad. Did you guys hear what Sean Strickland said when he came up to Canada here to fight last week?
Oh, yeah. We played the Dana White clip earlier in his response. I mean, look.
Listen,
the man says what he thinks.
Beautiful.
The man says what he thinks.
It's such a refreshing thing for us Canadians to hear, because you say that up here, they'll lock up your bank accounts. They'll send you, like, it's really good. Yeah. Anyway,
no, you start locking up bank accounts, man. Like,
that's when I'm
in the car.
How do you go home?
Next thing you know,
I move.
Next thing you know, I'm Tom Cruise with an eye patch, setting suitcases down in important places.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Was that a Valkyrie reference?
See Valkyrie. Look, I'm Tom Cruise, eye patch,
that was
down
good.
next to wood.
That was good.
Important place.
Oh, that was good. Hey, what's the Flyers update?
Hey, right now we're 25-16. We're sitting second in the Metropolitan in the Eastern.
Metro booming.
Don't forget about those 6 overtime losses, Blaine. Those might be the difference between winning and losing.
Well, Kirk, there's certain things that you got to bring up, and you brought that up. That's crazy because Justin Trudeau's about to show up at your house.
Yeah. Hey, check your bank account.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Kirk.
Thanks, Kirk.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
All right, last one. Quickly, Jimbo. How you doing, Jimbo?
That Valkyrie reference was so funny, dude. I can't get over it.
Hughes, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, fellas? This is your boy Cusmo Jimbo here.
What's up? How excited were you about the Fran Brown shout out yesterday?
Y'all coming up.
That was cool to hear. I think we got something special cooking here, but obviously we got to produce on the field. But I wanted to bring your guys' attention to the NFL draft real quick, and I'm looking at these top 6 picks, and I'm thinking this could be a really wild draft. I mean, last year was interesting, but, you know, as heavy as it is for quarterbacks in this year, I see only one of the 6 teams guaranteed to draft a quarterback, and that's New England.
Yeah.
Because if you go down the list, Chicago, I think they are considering still trying to develop Justin Fields.
You got to trade that pick, right? You got to trade that pick if you're the Bears, right? Are you just, is Marvin Harrison Jr. that good? Like, I know he's really unbelievably good, but with the value you could get because somebody wants Caleb.
I think
they want Caleb bad.
It's where you can go to.
There's also another perspective I have on that. I think we could see another Eli Manning type situation too, where
we've heard that
drafted by Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think they trade him out of the pick. Then I wouldn't bring him past Washington to also trade out of that pick either, because they got so many holes in their roster, especially on deep. Yeah, and Sam Howell is not bad, honestly. Then Arizona's Arizona's head coach has been on the record saying that he wants Kyler as their starter. We all know the Chargers still have they still have Herbert, and he's an elite player. And of course, the Giants managed to play their way out of the top 5 by beating Philly when it absolutely doesn't matter.
They had the worst season. You'd have rather gone 0-17.
I don't know. I really like that run that Tommy gave us, though, and I think he's going to be a nice spare tire for us.
He's your Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, Tommy's not going to be the quarterback.
He's our Charlie Batch. He
is. Tommy Cutlass.
I'll tell you one thing that's not going to happen. Tommy Cutlass is not going to be the quarterback for the Giants.
Yo, I want to throw a pass.
You're going to run with old Daniel Jones, or you're going to draft a quarterback out of this draft.
I think either that, or we get one of the tackles. We get that monster out of Penn State, or we get the guy out of Notre Dame. Honestly, if he doesn't,
Joe Alt.
Y'all got to get y'all got to get a receiver.
Giants are in that situation where you need a little bit.
You need a lot.
Y'all's best receiver is Darius Slayton. All right, shout out Auburn, but we need something a little bit better than that. Y'all are at Giants at 6. Giants are at 6. You'll have the pick of the litter. All right, Marvin's going to be gone. We all know that. Malik Neighbors, Odunza from Washington. There's a lot of good pieces out there, but if y'all are going to go with Daniel Jones, which I think y'all are, you have to get a receiver.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yep.
Got that Buzz Lightyear.
Probably the guy out of Washington.
Yeah, Odunza.
Yeah, he's nasty.
Great
But Jimbo, thanks, buddy.
Jimbo.
We'll see.
Thanks, man.
All right. I'm heading over to the board. And look, was so unbelievably hot betting college basketball for like 3 straight weeks. I knew that I was going to be punished by the football betting gods. Bet-Eliath, the golden, is punishing me right now. I would fade my college basketball picks. I really would. Like, I'm almost thinking about fading myself.
No, you're about to come back right now.
No,
Turn it around tonight.
Look, you're just evening out a little bit right now. You're super hot.
Yeah, you were hot.
First off, don't tell me what I'm doing, okay? Both of you guys. Don't tell me what I'm doing, all right? I know myself, all right? I wake up and look in the mirror. I hop out of the bed like I'm possessed.
You try to get positive.
Yeah, you try and be positive, and then you try to get hit with that. You know what? Speaking of which, I totally believe in all your picks, but what are they? Because I want to take the opposite.
Yeah, I'm picking Tennessee. Give me Xavier and Creighton over 149.5. Can't wait to see that game in the 60s when two offenses that just score at will. Then Kentucky and South Carolina. I'm going over 155.5. So the way South Carolina shot last week, they won't make it 3. BJ Mack won't hit one if you paid him to do it, which they actually are. But Kentucky, scoring 94 points a game, something ridiculous like that, which means they'll score 49 this game. It'll go into triple overtime and be 58-57. So we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, those are my 2 picks.
All right, well, I took 2 tennis picks yesterday. I didn't hit one of them, and one of them is still going right now as we speak. Started at 5:30 in the morning. So this is what I get. But I'm going back to the well again today. Daniil Medvedev, minus 3.5 games. That's at minus 115. He's supposed to play at 8:30 p.m., so congrats on playing Friday. And then Alcaraz versus Zverev.
Alcatraz?
Alcaraz versus Zverev. I'm excited about this matchup. I'm going to take Zverev plus 5.5 games, but I think Alcaraz wins the match, and that's minus 105.
All right, cool. Give me Kentucky. give me Kentucky money line. It's going off at a minus 180. You really win a lot.
Wow, good. Can't wait to win $8.
Don't unit shame me.
$88.
All right, they gave me Texas plus 4.5 against Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Shout out Chase Mills. Y'all can win.
Been doing it his whole life. Ace.
Keep it close.
He's going to take Duke after they lost to Pitt at home, minus 14. And then Houston, minus 2.5. On the road, I believe. Is it UCF? Maybe. Not sure. But Houston's minus 2.5 at minus 112. All right, let's get to the donos.
All right, a couple of donos here. Let's go to Broken Devil Dog with a $2 donation. He says, y'all are forgetting about the Cousins curse.
Is this an Alabama joke?
No, I think it's a Kirk Cousins joke.
Sorry.
Not that. I went over my head for a second, but well done. Let's go to Q-Smo, the man who just called, $5 donation. I might have already read this, but I'm going to read it again. Don't trust ownership for the Chargers, despite the amount of talent currently there. Wouldn't be surprised if Harbaugh passes. Let's go to Copperhead22 with the $5 donation. Thoughts on the Lions Chiefs Super Bowl rematch of the first game of the season for the last game. Talk about an NFL script.
Yeah, that'd be very, very interesting. They would not. That's actually probably the perfect scenario for the NFL.
You think so?
Because you get Taylor Swift and then you get America's team now in the Lions. That's probably the perfect scenario.
All right, let's go to Nick Bates with the $5 donation. Nick, appreciate it, man. Says Bryce Harper's going to win his third MVP this year. Baseball can't come fast enough. Bring MLB to Utah and Nashville.
You're right. I'll say this. My body's ready to be hurt again by the Atlanta Braves, by the team you just mentioned, Bryce Harper and the Phillies. Can we just get... I'm to the point with the Atlanta Braves where I'm at with Auburn basketball. I'm interested in the regular season. I'm excited about it. But for me, it's the postseason, right? I know we're going to be there, right? We may win 161 games. But I don't know why the Phillies. Please.
All right, that's all the donation, but I do want to get to this really quickly. Broken Devil Dog said, no team that has lost to Kirk Cousins in the regular season has made it to the Super Bowl. The Cousins curse.
Wow.
First time for
I hadn't heard that one.
everything.
All right, let's get to the poll.
Well,
who is truly America's team? Cowboys.
No.
The Lions.
Yes.
Yankees.
The Yankees. Get out of here. Lions.
80%. Lions, 79%.
Cowboys, 23%.
Okay, get it.
Lions, 58%.
Nice.
Yankees, 20%.
I price is right.
Whatever, y'all.
That's what I did. All right, appreciate it. Good job, chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, whether you're on Rumble, wherever you watch us, listening to us. We appreciate it. Go buy some merch. Check out our fantastic sponsors, including the new Game Time app. Go download that bad boy. Use that code BOOSTER for that great deal. Get you some tickets. We appreciate you guys. And like the chances.
Make it a little challenging here.
You want me to throw it higher?
Make it a little challenging.
Like the chances of Will Levis being Joe Burrow.
Reach out for one.
We're going. Oh! Gone! You have to have it.